service of CNC Worldwide.
The Daily is a service of CNC News and Jib Jab greetings. I'm Bud Lowell. The full AccuWeather forecast is right across the top of all CNC local news pages. Residents of Ketchum Street in the village of Victor are back in their homes Tuesday after a 12-hour police standoff ended Monday night. 2 people are in custody. The incident began about 9 Monday morning on Ketchum Street when a man came out of a house and shot up the cars in his driveway. He then went back through his home to the backyard and fired another shot. The man then went back into his house. Neighbors called 911. A short time later, deputies from both the Ontario and Monroe County Sheriff's Departments and the New York State Police were on the scene. Neighbors had to evacuate or shelter in place. St. Patrick's Church in Victor opened its doors to people who needed somewhere to go. The nearby Victor Central School campus went on to lock-in status. Officials tried through the day to talk the man out. At least 3 shots were fired during the day inside the house. Ontario County Sheriff Phil Pavaro says a SWAT team used a robot to reconnoiter inside, determining that a man and a woman were in there. They eventually tried flashbang grenades, and when that failed to drive them out, they resorted to tear gas. Both people came out of the house and were taken for medical checks. Neither appeared to be injured. The incident concluded without injury to the officers or anyone else. Authorities have not released the names of those 2 people taken into custody. Congresswoman Louise Slaughter's office says one of the West Webster firefighters wounded in the Christmas Eve shooting will testify before Congress Tuesday. Ted Scardino will testify Tuesday afternoon before the House Gun Violence Prevention Task Force about his views on the Gun Trafficking Prevention Act. The bill would greatly toughen penalties on so-called straw purchasers, people who buy guns on behalf of others. The gunman who shot Scardino twice while he was responding to a fire December 24th was a convicted felon. He couldn't legally buy guns. He persuaded a former neighbor to buy 2 of the 3 guns that he used. 24-year-old Dawn Nguyen has an April 1st court date to answer the charge of lying on her purchase application. Eastman Kodak says the 2 parts of its business it intends to reorganize around this year had improved earnings. In this case, that means the digital printing and commercial films units lost $278 million less in 2012 than they did the year before. Kodak filed its Form 10-K with the Securities and Exchange Commission this week. That's the company's annual report. Kodak finds a consolidated net loss for the year of $1.38 billion. That's counting extensive reorganization and restructuring costs of more than $1 billion as the company fought to get out of bankruptcy. Kodak says it squeezed $226 million out of its operating costs. CEO Antonio Perez still believes Kodak will emerge from bankruptcy around the middle of this year. Kodak is selling its personal photography and printing businesses and focusing on large-scale commercial printing. Greece police say they have found the 90-year-old man who was missing yesterday. The Greece resident left to run some errands and didn't return home as expected. They're not saying what happened, just that he is okay. He left his home in his car Monday afternoon about 3, and police were called in when he didn't return as expected. Greece police are also looking into a second report of a suspicious vehicle seen near school children. In this case, police say a young girl reported being followed by an SUV while on her way to school Monday. This was near Beverly Heights and Willis Avenue. Police say the vehicle description is similar to the red Ford Explorer reported last week by a grade school boy. He said a man approached him while he was waiting for the school bus on Maiden Lane. Greece police have stepped up patrols along routes to schools, and they're asking anyone with information to call 911. 2 people escaped a house fire in Irondequoit Monday night. One of them ended up in the hospital. The Seabreeze Fire Department was called to Seacliff Road near Seabreeze Amusement Park for a report of a house fire. Here's some video they shot of it and posted on Monroe County FireWire. Although the people got out, one was taken to the hospital with unspecified injuries. Several dogs were killed in the fire. The house was destroyed. They believe the fire was started by a space heater. They're still investigating. A 23-year-old Rochester man is now up against reckless driving and other charges resulting from the weekend crash of an SUV at North Street and Clifford Avenue. 2 of his passengers ended up in critical condition. Police say they tried to stop that vehicle on East Main Street early Saturday morning, but the driver sped off up North Street until losing control at Clifford. He then struck in succession a utility pole, a house, and a parked car. The SUV rolled and landed upside down. The utility pole fell and cut power to the neighborhood. The residents of the house had to be evacuated, and all 3 people had to be extricated from the wreckage. Jimmy Jones, Jr. of Rochester is charged with assault, unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, reckless driving, and other traffic charges. The seriously injured passengers were 18-year-old Raekwon Alexander and 17-year-old Jaree Harmon, both of Rochester. Both are at Strong Memorial Hospital. On the left of the player window are links to these and other stories. At the bottom of the page, links you can use to post news and information directly to us. They're in the gray bar. Next news is as it happens. Updates are as necessary. You can help us be the judge of that by what you share with us. I'm Bud Lowell, CNC News.